The Grand Assembly Hall of Zephyria Prime fell silent as the human delegation's transport touched down on the crystalline landing pad. Through the towering windows, hundreds of alien dignitaries watched with barely concealed amusement as the small craft's doors hissed open. Ambassador Elena Vasquez stepped out first, her modest diplomatic attire a stark contrast to the elaborate ceremonial garments worn by the assembled representatives of the Galactic Council. At barely 5.5 feet tall, with graying hair pulled back in a simple bun, she appeared unremarkable among the towering Zephyrians, the armored Krillian warriors, and the ethereal Veiltar mystics. "Look at their champion," sneered Warlord Thaxmore, his mandibles clicking in what passed for laughter among his species. "The humans send us an elderly female as their representative to the trial of worthiness," Council Chancellor. Vex Nara's multiple eyes blinked in synchronized disdain. Perhaps they misunderstood the purpose of this gathering. This is to determine if humanity deserves a seat among the apex civilizations, not a diplomatic tea party. Other delegates erupted in various forms of alien laughter, chittering harmonious chimes and guttural roars that echoed through the vast chamber. For 3 centuries, the Galactic Council had maintained order through strength, wisdom, and proven capability. Each member species had earned their place by demonstrating exceptional prowess in combat, technology, or psychic abilities during the trial of worthiness. Humanity, having only achieved faster-than-light travel 50 years ago, was the newest species to request membership. Their preliminary achievements were adequate. Their technology was functional but unrefined. Their military had won some minor skirmishes against pirates and raiders. Their diplomatic corps was competent enough, but nothing about them suggested they belonged among the galaxy's elite. Elena walked calmly across the assembly floor, her footsteps barely audible on the resonant crystal surface. Behind her, 2 junior diplomats followed nervously, occasionally glancing at the sea of alien faces that tracked their movement with predatory interest. "Honored Council," Elena began, her voice carrying clearly through the hall despite its softness. "I am Ambassador Elena Vasquez of Earth. I come before you to represent humanity in the trial of worthiness." Chancellor Vex Nara leaned forward on her elevated platform. "Ambassador, you seem to have misunderstood the nature of this trial. This is not a debate or negotiation. You must demonstrate your species' exceptional capability, combat prowess, technological supremacy, or transcendent consciousness. What do you offer?" Elena smiled slightly. "I offer truth, Chancellor, and the recognition of strength where others see only weakness." Before the Chancellor could respond, a commotion erupted from the hall's highest balcony. A figure dropped from the shadows, landing with earth-shaking force in the center of the assembly floor. The impact cracked the crystal surface in a spider web pattern that spread for dozens of meters. The assembled delegates recoiled in terror. Even the most powerful among them felt their breathing quicken as they beheld the newcomer. Kaidrath. The apex stood 9 feet tall, his obsidian exoskeleton, gleaming with embedded neural interfaces that pulsed with crimson energy. For over 2 millennia, he had been the Council's ultimate arbiter, a warrior philosopher whose combat skills were matched only by his strategic brilliance. Dozens of species had fallen before his might. He had personally ended 3 galactic wars through single combat, and his very presence could make entire fleets surrender without firing a shot. "Kaidrath," Chancellor Vex Nara stammered, "we did not summon you. The human trial is a minor matter." Silence. His voice resonated with harmonic overtones that seemed to vibrate in the bones of every creature present. I have observed, I have evaluated, and I have decided. The apex warrior turned toward Elena, who stood perfectly still despite being close enough to be vaporized by his energy fields. The assembled dignitaries watched in stunned silence as the most feared being in the galaxy approached the unremarkable human woman. Ambassador Elena Vasquez of Earth, Kydrath intoned, his massive frame casting her in shadow. 3 days ago, your transport was attacked by Zeridian pirates in the neutral zone. Elena nodded calmly. Yes, that's correct. Your escort ships were destroyed. Your vessel was damaged and boarded. You were outnumbered 50-1 by trained killers who showed no mercy to civilians. The hall remained dead silent. This was news to the council. And yet, Kydrath continued, within 47 minutes, every pirate was dead or unconscious. Your crew suffered 0 casualties. The pirate leader, Scarthul the Blood Drinker, a warrior who had terrorized shipping lanes for decades, was found cowering in his own cargo hold, begging for mercy. He paused, letting this information sink in. I reviewed the security footage. You, Ambassador, personally disabled 37 armed pirates using improvised weapons and environmental hazards. You demonstrated tactical awareness that surprised my own analysts, medical knowledge that saved lives under impossible conditions, and leadership that turned terrified civilians into an effective fighting force. Elena's expression remained modest. I did what was necessary to protect my people. More than that, Kydrath said, his voice carrying a note of something like wonder. When you had Scarthul at your mercy, when you could have ended the threat permanently, you chose instead to render medical aid to his wounds and offered him a chance at redemption. The apex warrior slowly, deliberately, lowered himself to one knee before the human ambassador. The sight sent shockwaves through the assembly. In 2,000 years, Kydrath had never knelt before anyone. This is what strength truly looks like, he announced, his voice carrying to every corner of the vast hall. Not the ability to destroy, but the wisdom to know when destruction is unnecessary. Not the power to dominate, but the courage to show mercy when mercy requires greater bravery than violence. He looked up at Elena, his ancient eyes reflecting something like reverence. Ambassador Vasquez, you and your species embody the highest ideals of civilization. You fight when you must, but you dream of a galaxy where fighting is unnecessary. You have power, but you wield it with restraint. You face the unknown with curiosity rather than fear. Rising to his full height, Kydrath turned to address the stunned council. I, Kydrath the Apex, pledge my loyalty to the human cause. Any who would challenge their worthiness must first prove themselves worthy to challenge me. The silence stretched for long moments before Chancellor Vexenara found her voice. The trial of worthiness is concluded. Humanity is granted full membership in the Galactic Council, with all rights and privileges thereof. As the assembly erupted in confused chatter and hasty diplomatic conversations, Elena simply smiled and extended her hand to Kydrath. Thank you, my friend, though I should mention that footage probably didn't capture the part where I was absolutely terrified the entire time. For the first time in living memory, the apex warrior laughed.